So today we're going to discuss physics O levels October November 2022 variant 2 paper 1. So let's start with question number 1. It says the diagram shows the three forces acting on the block. The resultant force of 6 Newton to the right. So resultant force is 6 Newton to the right. Yes, that's shown. It says which additional force produces the resultant force 3 Newton to the left. So if it is 6 Newton to the right, to balance it there should be 6 Newton to the left, and to produce a resultant force of 3 Newton to the left you need another 3 Newton, so it should be 6 plus 3 9 Newton to the left. Question number 2 says the teacher measures the length of classroom. The most what is the most appropriate instrument to use? Not the ruler, 30 centimeter ruler is very smaller one, not the caliper which is very small one, micrometer is also very small readings, only the tape can be of a variable length, so tape can be used to measure that. Which value is 1,000th of a meter? 1,000th, after one decimal place this is tenths, then this is hundredths, so this is thousandths, so it should be like 3 digits after decimal. So that should be 0.001 meter. Since the reading is given in centimeters, so I need to multiply with the 100, so I'm going to 0.1 centimeter, so that's D. The car of a mass 1000 kg is traveling down a steep hill. The brake fails. The driver uses horizontal sand-filled safety road to stop the car. The car enters the sand at a speed of 10 meter per second, experiences a constant stopping force of 25 Newton. How far does the car travel in the sand before it comes to a rest? So first of all, we've been given a force, we've been given a mass, so we're going to find acceleration first. F is equals to ma. So 2500 is equals to 1000 times a, so a will be equals to 2.5 meter per second square. Since it's a deceleration, so I'm going to use a formula. A is equals to v minus u over t, which is acceleration's formula. Deceleration is negative acceleration. Final velocity it has to comes to rest. Its initial speed was 10, so time we need to find out. Now we're going to use time, bring time here and 2.5 here, so it is going to be t is equals to 4. Now if you draw the graph, it starts at 10 meter per second, it comes to at rest after 4 seconds, so the distance moved is area under the graph, so that is the area under the graph of this triangle, which is 1 by 2 times base times height, so that is going to be 20. A ball from rest and starts from rest and rolls down a steep slope. The ball then rolls along a rough horizontal road. Which graph shows the speed of the ball at different times? So first of all, the speed has to be, like, since it's a rolling down the slope, so it should have a constant acceleration, so this one is wrong. Then it can be this, it can be this, it can be this, so these are the three. Then it says when it's rough horizontal, so it must be decelerating, so that's wrong. Then that's a very, like, it's so much rough that it's going to be stopping down exactly as soon as it hits horizontal ground, but it does not say that. It says roll along the horizontal, so it's going to be a deceleration, like this. A block of wood is placed on a table. The external forces acts on the block and the block remains stationary. Students suggest the three conditions for the block to remain stationary. Resultant force on the block must be equal to 0. The resultant moment on the block must be equals to 0. The external forces acts through the center of the mass of the block. That is not compulsory. So P and Q is the one that is necessary for the object to remain stationary. A car traveling at a 60 km per hour on a straight road. The road is dry. The driver applies the brake. Suddenly, the table shows the thinking distance, braking distance, stopping distance. The same car is driven at a 60 meter on the same road when it is wet. The driver applies the brake suddenly. What is the effect of wet road on the thinking distance, braking distance, stopping distance? It has no effect on the thinking distance. Braking distance, yes, that will increase because now there is less friction. So stopping distance will also increase because stopping is braking plus thinking. Since braking is changing, so stopping has to change as well. Car is traveling on a horizontal road or around a bend at a constant speed. In which direction the resultant force acting this? It should always be towards the center of the bend. Whenever something is moving around a bend a or a circle, it is always towards the center of that whatever this circle is formed. A student writes two statements about mass and weight. Mass is a property of a body that resists the change in the motion. Yes, that's it. The weight is the amount of substance in a body. No, that's wrong. So only one is correct. The graph shows how the extension of the spring changes with the mass suspended from it when the spring is on the planet X and the spring is on the planet Y. Since its extension against mass graph, so now this is very important now. What conclusion can be drawn? It is impossible to compare gravitational field strength. No, it is possible. Gravitational field strength on the planet X is equals to, no, that's not equal, otherwise this would have been the same line. Gravitational field strength on the planet X is 1/3. That is opposite. Y is 1/3 because it is extension against mass graph. It's not mass against extension. The gravitational field strength on the planet X is 3 times, yes. So the student finds the density of irregular object which uses this equipment from the list. Stopwatch, measuring standard and balance. Which equipment does the student need to use? That's 2 and 3. Stopwatch has nothing to do with that. A uniform beam is pivoted at center. Two weights are placed in the beam in the position shown. This beam is the balance of upward force F. So let's start with movement. This is a clockwise movement. This is anti-clockwise movement. This is also anti-clockwise movement. So I need to add these two moments. So this is 30 times the distance from the center, which is pivot, which is 40. So 30 times 40 plus another anti-clockwise movement, which is F times 50, which is the distance from the pivot, is equals to 60 times 30. So now I'm going to use this. This is 1200. This is plus 50F is equals to 1800. So I'm going to subtract 1200 from here. So 50F is equals to 600. So F is equals to 12. Four objects of equal mass rest on this. Center of mass of each object is labeled G, which is the least stable, the one with the less base area, and the center of gravity which is not closer to the ground. This is B. Each tire has a each tire of a car has an area 100, is in contact with the ground. The car has a mass this. The weight of the car is equal to distributed among 4 tires, which gave the shift is this. What is pressure? Okay, right. So first of all, which is 4 times 100, because there are 4 tires, so that's 400 centimeter square. Mass is given, so let's convert into weight. W is equal to mg, m times g, that's 16,000. So now pressure is equal to force over area. Since we don't need to convert that into meter square, since it's in centimeter square, so it is going to be 16,000 divided by 400, so it's going to be 40. A gas syringe contains a volume V1 of a gas at a pressure P1. The volume is reduced to V2 without any change in temperature. What is the pressure expression for the change in pressure? So the first thing that we need to do is P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2. For the new pressure, it is going to be P1 over V1 over V2. But since it's asking for the change in pressure, so this new pressure minus old pressure, so this is going to be this. A constant force F pulls a block of weight W up the slope. How much is work done by the force F in pulling the block up the slope? Since the force is this way, so the distance has to be this way as well, because work done is equals to force into distance. So force into the distance moved in the direction of the force, FL. The input power of a motor is 12 watt. The motor wastes 50 joules energy in 1 minute. What is the efficiency of the motor? So it's in 1 minute, so it's in 60 seconds, so it is energy over time. So 590 over 60, so that is going to be approximately like 9 point something. So this is our output, 9.8 something, 9.8 or 9.9, whatever it is, right? Then divide by 12 times 100. So when you go to use this, since this was wastage, so we need to convert subtract it from here as well. So it is 12 minus 9.8 over 12 into 100%, so that will give you 18%. Electric motor has an efficiency of about 90% when it is used in an electric train. Which forms of the wasted energy are produced? Efficiency of 90%, so it means 10% is wasted, right? So it can be a thermal and a sound. What is the unit of a power? Power is energy over time, so that's joule per second. The diagram represents the four thermometers. Which thermometer has the greatest sensitivity and which thermometer has the greatest range? So the one which has a per greatest length for per unit reading, so this has the greatest length for one reading, 1 degree of rise, so this is more sensitive. And this is 200, measuring 200 degrees Celsius of range. This is 250 of a range. This is 10 degree of a range, and this is 25, because we need to find change. So 40 minus 30 is 10, 250 minus 0 is 250, 300 minus 100 is 200. So this has the greatest range, so it's Q and R, that's C. Air is trapped in a metal cylinder by a piston. The piston is free to move. Then the air trapped is at atmospheric pressure. The cylinder is in hot water. The cylinder is taken out of the water and left to cool. What happens to the mass of the air in the cylinder and its pressure as it cools down? Mass does not change, so mass will remain same. So C and D is wrong. Pressure, since it's left to cool, So there's nothing to do with it, that's only with the temperature. Because there's no change in volume, so why do the pressure change? Mirror placed in a path of ray of light. To which angle does the direction of the light changes? So if the ray goes straight, this should be this way. Now it is going this way, so it means this is the angle, change in angle. So this is 40, this is 40, because the angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection, and you add these two, this is 80, and you subtract it from 180, you will get 100 degree. So for 23 it says the ray of light in the water is refracted as surface only into the air, sorry, which diagram shows the angle of incidence I and the angle of refraction R. So this is I and this is R, that's correct. This is I, this is not R, this is not I, this is R, this is not I, this is not R, so it's A only. A thin converging lens forms a real focus image of an object as shown. The distance, which distance is equal to the focal length of the lens. Since the ray which is going parallel, it bends and passes through the focal length. So this x is a focal L focal point. So Lx is your focal length. The ray diagram shows the action of a diverging lens. So diverging a lens will always diverge. See, this ray should go this way, but it is converging, right? So that's not a converging. This ray should go this way and it's converging again, so that's not diverging. This ray should go this way and it's again converging, it's going inside, so that's not diverging. This ray should go this way and it is going out, so it's a diverging one. So that's this. Many devices produces electromagnetic waves when operating. Which devices produces electromagnetic waves at the highest frequency? Mobile phone is going to go use radio, which is of a higher wavelength, but it is of least frequency. Sunbed is UV, which can be a good option. Television controller is infrared. Toaster is also uses the microwaves, so it's only sunbed. Which two frequencies are both outside the range of audible frequency for the healthy human ear? This is within the range, because 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, so one of them he can hear it. He can hear this one, he can't hear this, he can't hear this, and he can't hear this, but this one is less than the range, this is greater than the range, right? So this is outside, so he can hear this, he can't hear this, he can hear this, he can't hear this, so these are the two ones which he cannot hear. Sound waves are displayed as a trace on the screens of an oscilloscope. Which trace shows the sound that becomes quieter with the higher pitch? So the wavelength should like amplitude should decrease, because it says the quieter, loudness depends on the amplitude, so the amplitude has to decrease. With a higher pitch means more frequency, so the waves will come closer to each other, but they'll be shorter waves, so that's C. A north pole is a permanent magnet is placed in turn to close the piece of the iron. The south pole is another magnet and a piece of copper. Which two objects are attracted to the north pole of a permanent magnet? Piece of iron is attracted, south pole is attracted, and piece of copper does not get attracted because it is non-magnetic material. Four plotting compasses are placed near the bar magnet, ignores any effect of Earth's magnetic field. One compass appears like this. What is the possible position of this? So it should always go from north to south. So A should be pointing to this side, B should be pointing to this side, C should be pointing to this side, D should be pointing. So this is the right answer. From C it is going like this way. This is what he is asking for. Two positively charged rods are placed next to each other. Which row describes explain how the rod moves? They movement away from each other, no, they are oppositely charged, so they should be towards each other. Opposite charge attracts, opposite charge repels, opposite charge attracts. A meter that measures the rate of flow of charge in the resistor is placed in a circuit. What is the name of this meter and how it is connected to the resistor? A rate of flow of charge is actually the current. So ammeter is the one which is going to measure the current, voltmeter does not, and it is always placed in a series. Which device is used to convert electrical energy into kinetic energy? Electrical to kinetic. Iron does not, it produces thermal. Kettle does not, thermal again. Lamp is light. Motor, yes, it moves. Why is the fuse used in the electrical appliances? To earth the blinds? No. To protect the blinds? Yes. To change the power of blinds? No. To change the voltage supplied to the blinds? No. So it only protects it. The coil of wire is rotated at a constant rate between the poles of U-shaped magnet. The two ends of the coil are connected to a different slip rings. Which graph shows the between the slip rings varies with the time t? So it should be sinusoidal wave. One time it will be positive, one time it will be negative, positive, negative. Which statement of the transformer is correct? The change in magnetic field in the transformer induces EMF in the secondary coil? Yes, it does. The core transformer is made of iron because iron is a good conductor? No. Transformer converts an alternate to direct current? No, that's a rectifier. That's also wrong, so A is the right answer. Three type of radiation emits by unstable nuclei are helium nuclei, shorter wavelength, electromagnetic waves, and electrons. What are the type of? So alpha is a helium nucleus, its nature is a helium nucleus. Electromagnetic waves is a gamma and electron is beta, so that's A. The diagram shows a relay used to switch on an electric motor. The student makes 5 statements to explain how the relay switch on an electric motor are electric motor. The statements are not in correct order, so we need to place these statements into the correct order. It says the current in the coil magnetizes the electromagnet. The armature close the contact. The current in the secondary coil makes the motor to turn. The electromagnet attracts the iron armature. The switch S in the primary coil is closed. So the first thing that you need to do is to close the switch, then it is going to become a magnet. So there is only one option which starts with 5, which is D. Otherwise if you would take it, then it's going to say that the current in the magnetized coil is magnetize the electromagnet. So after the switch is closed, this will magnetize this, armature will get attracted, armature will join the contacts, and the motor will get switched on. Different radioactive emissions have different characteristics. The student lists the following characteristics for the alpha particles. It is a positive charge. Yes, it is positive charge. It is high penetrative ability. No, that's not. It is a component of electromagnetic spectrum. No, it's not. So it's P only. A wooden object is believed to be 6,000 years. Which isotope found in an object is used to determine the age? It is carbon 14 isotope. So that's it. I hope you've learned something from this. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye bye.